Let's talk about the Islay region of Scotland while drinking an Islay Scotch with somebody who's been to Islay. What's up, guys? My name is Chris, and you are listening to the Whiskey Noobs podcast. And as I mentioned, today we have the treat of talking with Connor from Who Gives a Dram and from Bourbon with Friends. He has both of those podcasts. He is at Connor_whiskey on Instagram. And he took a trip over to Scotland and got to drink Islay whiskey in Islay with a bunch of Islay distillers. So I didn't think there was a better person that I could think of to walk us through this tasting. He recommended Lagavulin 16. That's what we're drinking here today, and we will give a full review, talk about his trip to Islay, talk about all kinds of things. It was a great time, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So without further ado, I'm going to cut to that interview with Connor right now. All right, good to go there. I'm going to have notes on my phone. So for those watching and for you, Connor, I am not ignoring you and texting somebody. I typed out my notes on my phone today. So
all good, man.
It's been a busy few weeks and I'll also be muting myself a lot. Those who listened to a couple weeks ago episode, I'm recording this pretty far in advance, but I still have this freaking cough that I cannot get rid of. So I think it's the air quality is my only guess. But Mr.
Pollen season, baby.
It's pollen season. That it is. How are you doing today, Connor?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me on your show.
Of course, dude. I'm excited to have you on. I am excited to try your recommendation, which we will get to here in a few minutes. The third peated Islay that we've had on. The fourth Islay. I did do an episode with Bunnahabhain, but it's rather different in that it's not peated. So I'm excited to give it a try. See if it kicks my butt or not. So,
yeah, man.
For those who don't know, so you have your own podcast called Who Gives a Dram, and then you're also a part of a podcast called Bourbon with Friends. Why don't you break down kind of that and your social media real quick for everybody so that if they haven't seen it yet, they can go follow you and they know who they're listening to for the next few minutes.
Yeah, sure, man. So yeah, I have two podcasts that I do. I'm host and owner Who Gives a Dram. That used to be my Instagram handle too. So a lot of people listening might know me from Who Gives a Dram. But that's my podcast, review whiskey. I also really enjoy like film and television and MMA. So I talk a lot about like UFC fights. I break down movies and stuff like that on Who Gives a Dram. And then Bourbon with Friends, I co-own and co-host with my buddy Paul, who founded the podcast. We've been doing that together for probably going on close to 2 years now, if I had to guess. And that is, again, kind of a more conversational aspect podcast. We have a lot of brands on. We do a lot of reviews. And right now we've been focusing a lot on craft distilleries. So having a lot of craft guys on, which has been fun. And yeah, man, I've been doing that since, I don't even know when I started, to be completely honest. It's been, I think, right like towards like the end of 2020.
Okay.
If I had to guess. Probably around then. But that's what I do. Those are my podcasts, Who Gives a Dram and Bourbon with Friends. And, just like yourself, Chris, love drinking whiskey, got into it at a fairly young age. I remember I was gifted, and this is a question I have for you too. I was gifted a bottle of Bullet bourbon.
Okay.
And that's kind of what initially kicked off my interest in whiskey in general.
Yeah.
What's the bottle that kicked off your interest in whiskey?
So I wanted to be interested in whiskey, but I didn't like it. The first bottle for me to be like, oh, maybe there's something here was actually Buffalo Trace. Somebody brought it to a fire and let me try it. And I took a sip and I'm like, oh, that actually tasted good. Because up until that point, I'd only had some stuff. I think I had Johnny Walker Red, which I wasn't a very big fan of. And I was like, maybe this whiskey thing's just not for me. But I took a sip of that and I was like, oh, yeah. And then the first bottle that I bought and continued to enjoy was Monkey Shoulder. So I really enjoyed that too.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Fun fact. I actually just looked at this like a few weeks ago because when I started Who Gives a Dram, before I even did Bourbon with Friends, I think my episode number 3 I did was Monkey Shoulder.
Oh, really?
And same thing with you. I think I think I got it for Christmas or something like that. And I posted a picture of Monkey Shoulder. Like I held it in my hand in front of my Christmas tree, and Monkey Shoulder DM'd me on Instagram, said, "Hey, can we use this on our page?" I was like, "Yeah, of course you can. I don't care." I thought it was super cool at the time. I'm like, that's like the first time a brand ever reached out to me.
Yeah.
Again, I think I was like at 3 episodes in, maybe. I was not far into my whiskey podcasting
That's awesome.
career. And I think to this day, I could be wrong. Whoever's listening to this podcast, go and I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it is the most liked picture that Monkey Shoulder has posted. I could be wrong, but it's definitely up there, and I think it might be the most liked.
Well, that's awesome. Jeez. Yeah, and Monkey Shoulder, man, I can't recommend it enough to newbies. I think the only people I know who don't like it are ones who it's too approachable for, which is so rare. You know, usually you want approachable. It's a good glass, that's for sure.
I admittedly haven't had Monkey Shoulder sitting in the back of my whiskey shelf all the way in the back row. Probably haven't cracked it open in well over a year, but
No way.
yeah, it's been a while, man. It's been a while. There's so many good scotches out there, like we'll get into, and you know, when you go single malt, it's hard to go back. Like I love a blend. I love Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker Black is one of my favorites, especially for affordable and approachable.
Yeah.
But once you go single malt like this, I'll let you introduce the dram we're going to be sipping on.
Yes.
It's hard to go back, man. It's hard once you get a good, especially an Islay single malt. It is tough to go back.
Yeah, especially if you get hooked on the Islay. So that's actually what we're about to talk about. So we're going to break down Islay scotches. We might touch briefly on Campbelltown, which is another region of Scotland. And I'll probably put like a little map up to show the regions like right about now. But Scotland's broken into multiple different regions. And we're going to go over Islay in this episode. Campbelltown, I wanted to talk about, and I'll mention it briefly. So there's 2 major distilleries there, Springbank and Glen Scotia. And there used to be, it used to be a real hub for distilleries. There used to be a ton of distilleries. And it has since declined a bit, especially in the, I don't know my centuries, 20th century, whenever there's a decline in the sales and the distilleries have declined a bit. So the moral of this story, I tell you all this, not to trash them or anything, to tell you that I don't know about you or your area, Connor, but Ohio, I don't even think I can find one within an hour of me, if I'm not mistaken. I've tried before. I've tried looking it up, but we don't have a great selection as it is. Have you seen Springbank or Glen Scotia around?
I've seen them. I'm trying to think if I've seen them in real life or just on Instagram.
Right.
I think I've seen them in person, but it's not something that I would I wouldn't look for it.
Right. And if you see it at a liquor store, it's not like something that, pops. So we probably won't spend a whole lot of time talking about it. But Islay, on the other hand, we can get our hands on. And Islay, for those who don't know, so it's well known for peaty scotches. It doesn't have to be a peated scotch. So we had Bunnahabhain on. I forgot to write down the episode number for that one. I'll look it up. But I had Bunnahabhain on the show. It's not peated. But it is most well known for heavily peated scotches, the Islay region of Scotland. Now, a few of the main brands are Laphroaig, which was episode 10 of Whiskey Noobs, Ardbeg, which was episode 66 of Whiskey Noobs and was actually comparing to Laphroaig, and Lagavulin. Those are like the 3 biggest names. So today we are going to try Lagavulin, the 16-year, and you did recommend this, Connor, so I'm going to let you basically explain why it is that you recommended this specific bottle.
Oh, man.
As I get it open and pour. So go ahead and go for it.
I am happy to explain this delicious Islay. This is probably, if I had to pick my favorite Islay, I think this would be it. I love Ardbeg. I think Ardbeg overall is my favorite distillery. And mind you, I've visited all these back in October. I drank 25-year Lagavulin straight out the barrel at 10 a.m.
Yes, and I want to talk about that
Scotland
too.
time.
So, but we'll talk about this.
This is this all hits home for me because that was an incredible trip, and most of my blood is Scottish blood, anyways. Um, and I I was introduced to Lagavulin 16. I don't remember how. I think my dad bought a bottle, $99, and it was like, oh, this is probably pretty good. It's an Isla, Ardbeg's Isla. And I tell you what, man, I don't drink this often because I like it to be special occasions. This is that good of a whiskey to me. It's the epitome of a nuance, so many nuanced flavors within a bottle that it's definitely not something that a whiskey noob, sorry, should be drinking. I
No,
mean,
that's
this is
fine.
for like an intermediate, high intermediate, even like low, like very seasoned whiskey drinker. There's a lot that goes on this. I
Yeah.
reviewed this on my own podcast. I think it was like episode 50. I searched it today. 52, I believe. I did Lagavulin 16, and I love this, man. This is one of my favorite pours ever. Not even just Isla Scotch, not even just Scotch, just whiskey. I love
Wow.
Lagavulin 16.
You got me excited to dig into this. That was like they need to hire you for some PR because that was a killer intro into this whiskey. I'm
Yeah,
super
man.
excited. I haven't taken a sip yet. I have smelled it. I am
All
looking
right,
up
yeah.
real quick which episode was Bunnahabhain, but yeah, that was episode number 68 was Bunnahabhain 12 year.
And dude, look at the color on that first and foremost for an Isla Scotch, right?
I noticed that right away. I mean, this is like gold, and usually I'm used to pouring a Scotch and getting, that pale color. This is dark. 16 years, that makes sense.
I haven't had this since I went to Scotland. I don't even think I've had many Isla Scotches since I went, because we were scotched out. That's all we drank for like literally a week. I remember Paul and I went out to downtown Edinburgh one night and we got double Eagle Rares for like $5. It's
No
incredibly cheap over
way.
there.
Oh my
And
gosh.
it tasted like heaven because we got scotched out, dude.
Yeah.
Too much scotch in Scotland. We got double Eagle Rares and it tasted like they went down dangerously smooth.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, this is
but
probably
yeah,
going to
that's
transport you back to Scotland then
yeah.
if you haven't had it since then.
Even just on the nose, man. I mean, you tell me what you get.
Yeah. So I want to preface this. A couple things. So this, I'm okay with it being more complex. This is one of those ones that I think will keep the more veteran drinkers interested. Plus, we're 100 and something episodes in now. I think this is 117. But I do want to preface this with the fact that I usually like to do a few glasses of it, not at a time, but a few glasses like the week or 2 weeks leading up to the episode, so I can give a well-rounded review. Sorry. But since I have you here, I figured I'd lean on you and I would do this
Yes.
kind of the reverse of what I do. I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to say what I'm smelling. I'm going to talk about it. And then you can talk about what you typically get since you know what this tastes like
Well,
in all palate conditions.
I want to preface your preface by
Okay.
saying, and listen, I'm not saying anything that you don't know, but I'm reminding people there are no correct notes when it comes to whiskey. We talked about this when you were a guest on my podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say the same thing on yours.
Yep.
There are no whatever you get is what it smells like or what it tastes like. That's what it is. I probably get much different notes than a lot of other quote unquote whiskey professionals out there, but what I smell is what I smell. A lot of the times so all smells are particulate, right? So you get, every time you smell something, there is a little bit of a solid that goes in there. So there's some type of sensory effect that happens that takes you back to a tangible part of your life, which affects the way that you remember certain sensory elements, smell, taste. Those are the two main ones because they actually have solid particulates. But that being said, I could smell this and it could bring me like this immediately brings me back to like the smell on this reminds me of like a mixture of a spring day. There's a lot of bright fruit, apple, pear, honey on there, but then on the back there's like, was this a little overburnt or something? Was this grilled pear a little overburnt because there's a little bit of a smokiness there?
Yes, totally agreed. I'm glad you said spring day because that's where I was headed with it. It's a little bit of like a light herbal for me. there's for me there's that fruitiness you mentioned. It's kind of like lemony, or I think pear's a good one because I always forget about pears because I don't like pears, but that's a good adjective. The thing I'm really noticing is I haven't tasted it yet. This is just the nose, but I'm really noticing some of the peatiness. Of course, it's obviously there, but I'm guessing due to the age, I'm getting some of that oak and some of that sweet vanilla caramel that I would not anticipate, at least for me,
Mm.
only having had two other Islas. I'd usually expect that the peat's just going to trample all that, but I'm still getting that oak through there on the nose, and that's pretty nice.
Yeah, and the good thing about Lagavulin, especially the 16, it's one of their main staples. So this is something that is 99% of the time you can find this on the shelf. It's going to be
Hmm.
$99, but 9 times out of 10 you're finding this at your local whiskey store or liquor store.
Yeah.
And so it's what that means is that there's a consistency to this because this is 86 proof, 43% alcohol by volume. And with that, especially with Scotch, I find comes sometimes inconsistencies with taste. I'll sip it one time and then I'll come back to it and it's not just a little different like it probably should be, it's drastically different. And I don't know if that's like changing from bottle to bottle because I'm talking about different bottles right now. Like I'll sip a
Right.
bottle and then I'll go to my friend's house, be like, oh, well, this doesn't taste the same. Then I'll go to a bar, be like, oh, this doesn't taste like either. That's 2 other times I had this.
Yeah.
Lagavulin 16 is not only the pinnacle of Islay Scotch, like I think it is, but it's consistent. It's got so many nuanced flavors there that I can't wait till you taste it because I don't want to give anything away, but it's we'll just say it may or may not be drastically different than the nose.
Okay. Okay. I'm excited. So that's what we'll do. So here's what we're gonna do. I'll taste it. We'll get a gut reaction. Kind of, I'll bounce it off of you. You can tell me what you're getting, and then I'll continue the review as we talk about your trip to Scotland and some of those types of things. That way, I can get
Sure.
a more rounded idea of it. And then at the end, we'll wrap up with my reaction, your reaction to this glass. Here's what I will say on the nose so far. You're totally right. You can pull different things every time you go back in.
Oh,
That last time, I got a little bit of that brininess that you would expect from an Isla. It helps
yep.
brighten it up a little bit. So I'm going to go in for the sip. Let's see how it is. Slancha.
Slancha. Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
Good golly gosh.
I
Now
don't
that is a Scotch.
I don't know if you just hyped it up for me or what, but I'm like, this is going to be, I think this is going to be my favorite that I've had so far. My favorite Isla, at
I'm,
least.
I'm telling you. And listen, no hate.
Mm-mm.
No hate on any other Islay Scotch. I mean, Ardbeg Wee Beastie, I'm a fanboy. I'm a fanboy of Ardbeg. Anything they come out with, I will consume. Lafroig, I'm not as big of a fan of, but Lafroig 10 is a classic 10-year Islay Scotch.
Mm-hmm.
Bunnahabhain, one of my favorites. I drank a lot of whiskey there on campus. Kalila, which is another Islay distillery, is fantastic. Bowmore. I mean, there's so many. There's so
Yeah.
many. But something about Lagavulin 16, man. And I want to say one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to the nose, I didn't want to interrupt your pre-sip speech right there.
No, go for it.
But the last thing I got on the nose, and I'm curious if any of the listeners agree with me, I got two things. And this is where, like, you never know what you're going to get because I did not get these the last time I broke this down. Is I got cookie dough on the nose. Very weird. And I also got fresh cut grass on,
Yes.
like, both of those things. I got like both of those things at once. And
Yeah,
I don't
dude.
think I'm having a stroke, so I think I'm actually smelling that.
No, for sure. I didn't get the cookie dough. I'm gonna try to though, because that is super interesting.
Yeah.
I was between either saying like a grassiness or like this is a weird one too, but maybe it's with that brininess. Pine needles, a little bit. Not as much as like gin, but like a little bit of like pine needles. Now, gin to me smells like just pine needles.
Yeah. Gin is unique, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But a good gin, like a quality made gin,
Mm-hmm.
is very good. Just like a quality anything that's quality. I know you did tequila recently on the podcast. Like
Yeah.
anything that's quality is tasty to me. It can be even a vodka.
Yeah, I just had a patron request that I try. Brief aside here, a patron just requested that I try an aged rum on the Patreon because he's like, it's summertime, a lot of people drink rum. I was like,
Mhm.
okay, I'll give it a try. I was like, I don't think I'm gonna like this because I've had cheap rum and like rum punches and stuff.
Yeah.
I loved it. I was like, oh my gosh, I could see myself drinking this. Like, I might have to do a
Yeah.
podcast episode on this. That sweet molassesy flavor and that little
Mhm.
bit of bite. It was, I couldn't believe how much I enjoyed it, to be honest with you.
Well, there are also so many whiskeys that are aged in rye, like Caribbean casks now.
Mm-hmm.
Most notably, Angel's Envy rye, which I think you've had on the podcast, right?
I've not.
You,
I've had normal angels. I was
ah, okay.
actually going to have the rye this month, but then that'd be two $100 bottles, and I was like, I'll save the rye for a little bit later.
Yeah, dude, you gotta budget, man, especially in the whiskey game. There's also
Yeah.
Rye 3, which if you haven't been connected with those guys, I'll connect you with
Yeah.
them. They'll definitely send you stuff, and I'm sure they'll even come on the show if you want them to. But
Okay.
Karthik, the owner, it's probably like top 5 ryes I've ever had. It's a rye finished again in rum cast, but it's their own rum, and it's like a double gold award winning craft rum, and it's delicious. And there's so many other places that do like rum finished whiskeys now.
Yeah.
It's becoming one of the most popular finishing techniques. If
Mm-hmm.
I had to guess, right up there with sherry, with port. I would
Yeah.
say rum is like probably, excluding like toasted and double barreled, like an actual
Mm-hmm.
finish. I'd say it's top 5 that
Yeah.
I've seen
Like an
popular
alcohol
right now.
finish. I think you're right. I mean, I think on the show we've at least had two. We had Glenlivet Caribbean Reserve and Pike Creek, the Canadian whiskey finished in rum barrels. So it's very common. Um
Hmm.
I do want to comment on this Ardbeg though. So, or Ardbeg, Lagavulin.
Lagavulin, yeah.
So, I'm digging this so far. The thing I noticed immediately when I took a sip, like immediately, was the sweetness. But then it
Mhm.
changed like immediately. So, right when it hit my tongue, like before I even chewed it at all, anything like that, I got this sweet kind of honey, maybe caramel,
Yep.
maybe maple syrupy, that type of sweetness. And then that peat came through a little bit. It reminded me more of like an Ardbeg peat. Now I'm just basing this on my knowledge of Ardbeg and Lafroig, basically.
Yep. Yep.
It reminded me more of the Ardbeg style, where it was a little bit lighter, a little bit pepperier, whereas Lafroig to me a lot of times is like heavier and like earthier. This is like kind of the
Mm.
light, almost sweet smoky. So I got a little bit of that. And then it kind of that pepper came through a little bit. Now that's just on my
Yeah.
first couple of sips, but that's what I'm getting so far.
I could have sworn that this was maybe sherry finished. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of a different Lagavulin
I do
offering.
have their site brought up. I can look at that real quick.
Yeah, I thought it was. I could be wrong, but anyways, um, you had brought up on the nose brininess.
Yes.
And so why I mentioned why the palate might be drastically different than the nose is because for me it is. To me, this tastes like if you were to have a bonfire on the beach and you put it out and then like a few hours later you go and sniff it. That's what this tastes like. It's like a beachy bonfire. And I think like this to me is more salty and briny than smoky and like barbecuey. Like it's very like a maritime aspect to this, very nautical almost. Like I feel like,
Yes.
this is something when you go to Isla, it's an island, so it's
Mm-hmm.
all surrounded by water, and this I really think encompasses. You step out of the Lagavulin warehouse, and it's the I think it's the Atlantic Ocean, or it's water, it's salt
Yeah.
water, it's
Yeah, I
an
think that'd
ocean.
be Atlantic. I'm so bad with geography. Yeah, I think that'd be Atlantic.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure. So like this just I think encompasses like a real like this encompasses Isla whiskey to me. Whereas
Yeah.
Ardbeg is very smoky,
Mm-hmm.
and very like barbecue, like pork, bacon type of thing. This to
Yes.
me is like salt water, like beach.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously a lot of peat as well. As is, remains the same with almost all every Isla offering aside from the Bunnahabhain.
Right.
Um, but this is like a beach. Like if there was to be a beach Scotch, this would be it.
Yeah. Yeah, if there was any, so a lot of the peated scotches I like, that's like a winter time, fall time. If there was any peated scotch I've had so far that I would drink in the summertime and in the springtime, it's definitely this one, because that peat is there in an enjoyable way, but it's not overpowering it. And it's definitely not, especially with like Lafroig. I don't want to beat up Lafroig. I love Lafroig, but I have to be in the mood for it because it'll kind of coat your tongue and kind of weigh down your palate a little bit with that peat. Then there's Ardbeg. Ardbeg, I got a bit more lemon. I got a bit more salt. And I would say this is like that Ardbeg and then less aggressive. And you get more of this sweetness and this oak. And that there's definitely brininess. I would still describe it as like a lemony fruitiness to me so far, but I have to get into a little farther. But I'm getting that brine, I'm getting that lemon, and then I think it's because it's 16 years in oak. I get a little bit of like a nice sweetness that honestly I don't think I've gotten from the other two. It's like this little bit of char, a little bit of oak, not the peat char, but almost like a barrely char.
Mm. What was the Ardbeg that you had?
Just the 10-year.
The
That's what I've
10-year.
had.
Okay, so
Yep.
yeah, that's real smoke. That's heavy smoke. That's a heavy peat.
Yes.
Ardbeg has the highest. They call it ppm. I'm not entirely sure what it stands for. I used to know. When I went to Scotland, I knew because I heard it a million times,
Okay.
especially on Islay. But Ardbeg has, I believe, outside of Octomore, has the highest ppm,
Okay.
which is basically the highest percentage of peat per like liquid ounce or something,
Right.
something along those lines. So that really brings out like that earthy, peaty smokiness. Whereas this, again, I can see where you're coming from. It's almost like a lemon zestiness in a way.
Mhm.
It just takes me to like a beach bonfire, and it takes me
Yeah.
to like a like the day after a fire, even not on the beach. If you just go to a fire pit the day after and smell it, this really is reminiscent of that to me.
I think that's a great description because, like, I would venture to say that like a Lafroig is like if you had a bonfire and you threw a bunch of like wet leaves on it, and I would venture to say this is exactly what you're describing. It's like a day after bonfire. It's not as like heavy or in your face. It's just a nice kind of light smokiness. It definitely I would venture to say if you have trouble with peated scotches, obviously this isn't an inexpensive one, but this might be the one to try at least at a bar or something because it's not harsh on your palate. It's not aggressive like those others.
It's not harsh. I just think that, and listen, if you got the money, spend it. Like,
Oh
you know,
yeah,
I'm the first one to say, like, listen, if you want to go pay $3,000 for Pappy Van Winkle, if $3,000 to you is $100 to me, be my guest, man. It's a free country.
right.
You're kind of screwing over the market when you do that, but that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
But if you can afford to just kind of drop $99 and you're just getting not even into whiskey but into Scotch, there is a lot of flavors going on in this, and I do think you have to have experience in whiskey, especially tasting whiskey, in order to appreciate like some of that like lemon zestiness that you're getting, or maybe
Mhm.
like to be able to kind of pick out the oak tannins that are making this a bit sweeter, where we're both getting kind of that more vanilla caramel
Mhm.
aspect to this. It's been sitting in an oak barrel for 16 years. It's gonna jive with the oak sugars. Eventually, every 16, if anything sits in a barrel for 16 years, that will happen. So there's a lot that's going on in this. And that's why I at the beginning of this episode, I said, if it might not be for you if you're just getting in, because there's so much
Mhm.
going on. There's so many nuanced flavors in this that, it might be hard to pick up everything. And it might be almost a little overpowering in
Mhm.
that aspect. But if you're talking, and I agree with you 100% on this, Chris, if you're talking about just smoke value, for
Right.
lack of a better term, this would be a very approachable. I always recommend Bunnahabhain just because it actually does have the least, ppm per. It has a little bit of peat in it, a tiny bit, but nothing even remotely compared to
Right.
other Islay scotches. Um, so,
Yeah.
but this is up there too, man. I mean, this is. I told you you'd like it.
Yeah. No, I agree with you there. I mean, for sure, if anybody's listening and you go to the bar and you try this and you're very new, you're not probably going to catch all of these things. That's a totally fair assessment. And the other thing is, this is the third peated scotch that I've had, so there's probably better options out there for newbies. But out of the three that I've had, this is definitely the most approachable. You won't catch all the nuance, but you'll at least be like, oh, I'm not dying and being suffocated by smoke, I think. I do want to, before I continue with this, because I could just keep talking about this glass, I want to give you a minute to talk about your trip to Scotland. And specifically, I think you spent a lot of time in Islay, which is why I wanted to have you on and kind of talk about that. So what exactly were you going over there for? And tell us your biggest takeaways, I guess.
Yeah. So we went over there just to podcast. I mean, we
Yeah.
set up. Me and Paul wanted to. We've we always wanted to go on like a world tour in a way, and we, without going into a huge store, we kind of leveraged the platform that we were lucky enough to have, and we're able to secure some sponsorships that kind of helped us financially in getting over there. And we stayed over there for I want to say a week, maybe 8 days total, because it's an 8-hour flight to get over. We flew from Boston to Amsterdam, which is a little bit past Scotland, and then Amsterdam to Edinburgh.
Okay.
We went over there for the sole purpose of podcasting. We set up we had an entire itinerary. Every single day we were talking to a distillery. So we went to, man, I hope I don't screw up these names.
I
Morrison
always do.
Distillery.
Don't worry.
We went to Morrison Distillery, which was, I believe, kind of creeping into the Highlands a little bit. We went to Dewar's Aberfeldy, which was awesome.
Nice.
My boy Craig is over there, and we hit it off because he's a big comic book nerd, just like I am. So we were drinking Dewar's at Dewar's and talking comic books. It was a great time. And then in Islay, we did in one day, starting at like 9:30 a.m. We did Lagavulin. It's the first place we went to. Then we did Ardbeg, and then we did Bunnahabhain.
Mm-hmm.
No, maybe we did Kalila, which is the Islay portion of Johnny Walker.
Oh, okay.
That's like the Islay blend is from Kalila. And then I think the next day we did Bunnahabhain, Lafroig, and I think I'm forgetting one. But we did like 3 a day, and we got back. We had a few other things we did that didn't involve podcasting for the past few days. But the main purpose was just go over there and talk to these distillers. We talked to mainly either the distillery managers or like the national brand reps, or like the Bunnahabhain. We talked to, of course, I'm forgetting his name now, but he's like a world famous tour guide.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
At Bunnahabhain. David, that's his name. I want to give him a shout out on Twitter because he has a great Twitter handle.
Okay. Yeah.
And David Brody at David J Brody.
Okay.
And he's the man. That was it, man. That was the purpose of our trip, and it was incredibly successful. We made some awesome connections. By the time this podcast comes out, our bourbon ball would have already happened, but we have incredible bottles of rare Scotch from almost every distillery that they gave to us to auction off at the bourbon ball.
Nice.
And we made some lifelong friends, people that I still stay in contact with, like distillery guys and like master distillers over there and things of that nature. It was an incredible experience, and especially going to Islay, which
Yeah.
is like I had mentioned previously, an island,
Hmm.
and seeing the whiskey scene, because it's whiskey. Isla is whiskey. That's all they do over there. It's
Right.
it's a very very tight knit community, and you would think because it's their main thing they do that they would be in competition with one another and trying to outsell, but no, it's all a big family. All the distillery managers are like best buds, or they went to school together, and they're all just like running these you know internationally famous brands now. Like the distillery manager at Lagavulin was buddies with the distillery manager at Ardbeg, and like Ardbeg guys knew the Lefroy guy, and it's just like they always go out and get drams when they can as buddies. um and there's a real like tight knit community vibe in Isla, um, which was probably my favorite part. And that's kind of what this glass now takes me back to, is
Hmm.
seeing the people in Isla, and meeting the people out there. And as an American, people is like, oh, well, where are you from in America? And you make all these friends because people want to talk to the Americans.
Yeah.
Um, so this brings me back to this glass of Lagavulin 16.
That's the best right there. When a glass takes you back to something like a good memory, that's the stuff.
That's what
Now,
it's for, man. That's like the best part about whiskey.
yes, absolutely. Now let me ask. I'll put you on the spot a little bit here. What if you had to pick something, and it could be a couple of things, but what comes to mind when I say what was the coolest thing that maybe you didn't expect to be cool, but the coolest thing that you saw while you were over there that you were like, I can't believe I got to see this in person.
Easy, super easy for me.
Okay.
It was what's iconic, and this is on Isla, and like going to Edinburgh. Edinburgh is one of the most beautiful cities on planet Earth. It's like, I think that's where J.K. Rowling's is that the one who did Harry Potter?
I think so. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's where she got the inspiration for Harry Potter, was like in downtown
Oh,
Edinburgh. And it's
okay.
really cool, like kind of like old school Gothic vibes. And the Edinburgh Castle is right in the middle. And I had a great few nights, in Edinburgh.
Nice.
Um, just kind of going out and with a bunch of people. But in Isla, the first time, and remember, we went to Lagavulin it was like 9:30 in the morning, and we're like kind of tired, and it's 5 hours ahead, so like everything is messed up, and it takes a while to adjust to that.
Yeah.
So we're drinking coffee, we're trying to like get started. um we go to Lagavulin 9:30 in the morning, and they bring us right into the distillery, and you pull up and you're like, wow, we're here. Like this is it. This is one of the Lagavulin is my second favorite distillery behind Ardbeg. Um, and then all of a sudden we go into the warehouse where they're kind of getting ready for the day. Like they have a bunch of tastings they're doing and stuff. And we're all of a sudden thieving whiskey. We're thieving a 25-year-old Lagavulin out the barrel. We're thieving like an 18-year-old sherry finished out the barrel. And we're cocked at like 10:30. Like, and they're like, hey, let's go outside. And they're like, just bring the glasses with you. Like the glasses are like up to here with whiskey from the barrel at
Oh my
10:30 in the
gosh.
morning. But then you go out, all this long-winded story to get to the part that was the coolest to me. And you go out, and then there's the ocean, and then you turn around, and it's the iconic white brick warehouse with the black lettering, and it
Yes.
says Lagavulin. Or the one that got me the most was Ardbeg and Lefroy. Every distillery on Isla has that iconic white brick, warehouse facing the ocean,
Hmm.
um, with the black lettering of whatever distillery you were at. And I remember turning around, seeing that, and thinking, wow, we are in Scotland. Like that was honestly one of the coolest moments of my life.
Yeah.
If I'm being completely honest, that was incredible. And then having like a dram of what probably was, they probably bottled what we were drinking for hundreds of dollars,
Right.
and just sitting there. And I wish I remember the guy from Lagavulin's name, a short little guy who had been working there for like 50 years, and he was a legend. He knew
Yeah.
everybody. Like anybody in Scotland that had to do with whiskey, he's like, oh yeah, I worked with him, or oh yeah, I used to work underneath him, or something like that.
Jeez,
I
that's
forgot his
awesome.
name.
I mean, that's awesome though. That's the full. I mean, as much as you could experience Isla, I feel like that has to be it. You're taking whiskey right out of the barrel, walking outside, and seeing the beach and all their warehouses. I can't even imagine, dude. Someday, that's
Yeah,
bucket list
dude.
material.
Oh yeah, 100% it is. And then not only that, you leave Lagavulin and then you're going to Ardbeg and doing the same freaking thing. And then
Mm-hmm.
you're going to Bunahaben and doing the same thing, and all these incredible views and these iconic warehouses and all this whiskey thieved out the barrel, and you're getting treated like kings because it's like, oh, you took the time to fly all the way out here. We might as well, give you some free whiskey. And it's, man, that first day on Isla I will never forget that day. That was something else.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. That's awesome.
Mm.
I I mean that's just kudos to you for going over there and doing that. I can't even imagine being able to go over there and not being able to, but just I can't imagine the experience of it. That's
Yeah.
got to be fantastic. And also, as you mentioned, your bourbon ball is passed as of the airing of this. But kudos to you on that. I mean, you guys are doing some really great stuff there, auctioning off stuff, and it's all going to charity. Go ahead and just, I know it's over, but just plug that for a second for those who don't know the
Yeah,
charity and
and
everything that you're doing with that.
of course, yeah. So the bourbon ball is something that this would have been our second year. Again, we're kind of talking in the future right now, but
Mm-hmm.
this would have been a very successful event. This was a very successful event, and we partner with Folds of Honor. Again, this is our second year doing it. This was our second year doing it at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and Folds of Honor is a charity that helps the families of fallen and wounded soldiers, which is very, very important to Paul and I. It's one of the main Bourbon Friend things, kind of to give back to those that have given everything for us. And
Mm-hmm.
we just kind of try to do our little part to put on the best event possible and a great time at great venues, and all based around whiskey, because that's what we all love. Bourbon in this case with the bourbon ball, but Scotch, Irish whiskey. I know you're a big Irish whiskey guy.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that's it's called the water of life for a reason, right?
Right. That's fantastic, man. I mean, that is you guys are doing good stuff with that. And the next one, I'm gonna try to make it to that one. This has been a chaotic summer for me, but that's pretty
Yeah, man.
awesome. Now I promise I'll let you go, but I do want to talk about this scotch one last time, what I'm getting from it, something I always do. And as you mentioned, I always try to preface this: you can get whatever you want from a glass. Whatever you're getting is what you're getting, and there's no wrong answers. But I do always like to read what the distiller says they're getting, just so people have an idea from the distiller's side and then also from our side. So I'm going to
Right.
run through that here very quickly as well. So from Lagavulin's website, what they say is the nose is intensely flavored, peat smoke with iodine and seaweed, and a rich, deep sweetness. I love that they add
Mm,
the rich, deep sweetness, because that,
yeah.
to me, puts it aside from other Islas that I've had so far.
And I'm glad they said the seaweed as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is more, like I said, there is more of a maritime aspect to this than a typical smokiness. There is a little bit of that briny saltiness to this, and I'm glad that whoever made those tasting notes proved me right.
Right. Yeah. No, that's you're right on. It definitely got that bit of saltiness, that the seaweed, it's a little bit herbal, it's a little bit grassy, like you said. And then
Like,
on the
dude, you could see like the people that are like whale hunting back in the day. They were drinking rum or they were drinking this.
yeah, all those
You know,
sea shanties that you listen to,
the sea,
that's
yeah, the yo ho, yeah.
this is what they were drinking. And so then on the palate, they say dry peat smoke fills the palate with a gentle but strong sweetness, followed by sea and salt with touches of wood. I think we were pretty close.
A bit generic, like most
Yeah.
whiskey provided tasting notes are, but yeah, no, you're spot on with the wood. I think you get the wood a little bit more than me, because what on the palate at least, what takes over for me is that bonfire
Mm-hmm.
salty aspect. But the wood is there. It's been, like I said, it's been sitting in an oak barrel for 16 years, so it better have influence
Right.
on the whiskey. Um, but yeah, man, this is tasty. I'm glad you like it because I knew you were going to, but I was hoping you were gonna like it as much as me because this is my favorite.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the most expensive one I've had on the show, so it should be my favorite, right? But it definitely is. Like, not to just say
Mhm.
that, I love the balance that you get of the peatiness and the smokiness. Now, if you're into, or the peatiness and the woodiness, if you're into super peaty, just takes over the entire palate, then that might not be for you. But I always like something that has a good balance, and I think most people do. And the
Mhm.
balance of those beachy, salty, lemony vibes with that sweet peat smoke, little bit of black pepper is astounding. As I'm sitting here, every sip I'm getting something different. I took a sip while you were talking about your trip, and I forgot to mention this, and I got like a little bit of, it was very charred, like very char black pepper all of a sudden. I mean,
Okay.
every sip you can kind of pull something a little bit different from it. It's impressive, that's for sure. If you want an example, if you have an experienced palate and you want an example of a nose that's different than the palate and a palate that's constantly changing as you're drinking it, this is the one, I think.
I'm telling you, man, this is like the chameleon of whiskeys.
Mhm.
This is like it's changing depending on your mood, what you ate, what the weather is, what the time of the day. Like if you're drinking this at 9:30 in the morning, like I was in
Mhm.
Scotland, it's going to be completely different than 8:30 in Rhode Island on a random Monday night. Like this is like a completely different scenario. Um, and
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I can totally see that. I think if I try this tomorrow, I'm gonna get something different. I'm actually going to be trying it later in the week, for an Instagram live, but as of the airing of this, that live has already passed. But I'm excited to see that palate condition, what I get from it. That's gonna
yeah.
be a good time. So yeah, if you're drinking right along with us, I'd love to hear what you have to say, especially if you've tried other Islas, if you've tried the Lafroig and the Ardbeg when we had those on the show. Because so far, definitely my favorite. I like that it's got the balance. I like that it's got the sweetness with the peat. And I'm glad you recommended it. Let me say that.
Yeah, and I know, well, at least I'm pretty sure you don't actually rate the whiskeys on your podcast.
Mm-mm.
I like to on Who Gives
Okay.
a Dram, um, just because I think like s- I- when people are buying bottles based on your recommendation, at least like if I heard someone say, "Oh, this is like an 8 out of 10," then that influences me a little bit more. When I first recorded my episode about Lagavulin 16, I gave it a 9.2, which is like a heavy ass score. There is some type of music going on in the background there. Is
Yeah,
that
go
coming through
ahead
your headphones?
and go back. I tried to
No, keep
mute
this in,
myself.
dude.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know
keep it
what? I'll
in.
keep it in. I'll keep it in. You had a little
Dude,
background
we're rolling
music
with it,
for
baby.
your rating. I was trying to cough, and instead of the mute button, I hit the sound pad. I'm so sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead and continue.
No, man. Hey, listen, this is what whiskey is. Sometimes you just roll with the punches and things happen. And that's like, dude, if we were just sitting by a fire and your phone went off, you're not gonna be like, dude, say that again. You're just gonna be like, oh,
True.
what? Oh, sure, yeah.
It kind of
Um,
went with your motivational speech, anyways. I mean, it was kind of hyping it
right.
up, you know?
The whole point of my motivational speech was saying I would probably rate this more like a 9.4, 9.5. Like this is
Wow.
up there for one of my favorite pours ever. The Lagavulin 16 is up there with like it's up there with for me my favorite like Weller 107.
Hmm.
It's up there with like a William LaRue Weller as a more expensive bottle that no one can really find.
Yeah.
Um, it's up there with like the top of the top for me. Mellow corn, obviously, like it's up there with everything.
Yeah. This is definitely up there for me. I'm gonna have to have it a few times to, set it in my rankings anywhere. I don't do scores, I don't do rankings, but I always have kind of in my head, a top five that's actually probably there's 20 bottles on it when I actually go to list them. But this is
Right.
up there. I would love to do some comparisons, which I probably will here in the future. I'm big on blinds and comparisons and things like that. But this is up there because I'm getting so much from it. I'm able to come back to it and get something different every time. As I'm sitting with the glass, it's changing a little bit. it's a very enjoyable pour. I'm hoping if anybody bought it on the email list and got it ahead of the show so that you could drink it along with us, I'm hoping you enjoyed it as much as I did, because it's very enjoyable without a doubt. Now, before we wrap up here, I want to give you a moment. Go ahead and plug your Instagram, your podcasts, where people can find you. And if you have anything coming up that you want to mention, feel free to. If not, just the social medias and the podcasts.
My whiskey life at the time of this recording is super busy, and there are definitely some things in the pipeline that's unfortunately I don't think even by the time this comes out, I probably can't say. I'll tell you off the
Yeah, I gotta
recording.
know. I'm curious.
But lots of things happening. I did change my Instagram handle a few weeks ago as kind of like a soft rebrand in a way.
Okay.
I still do Who Gives a Dram, which you can find on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. I still do Bourbon with Friends, which you can find on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you want to follow Bourbon with Friends, we're at BWF Podcasts on Instagram. And if you want to follow me personally, I'm Connor_whiskey. That's my new name, CONNOR_whiskey. You can find me there. And same thing on Twitter and TikTok. Those are the three that I use the most. Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, Connor_whiskey. Listen to Who Gives a Dram. Listen to Bourbon with Friends. Shoot me a message. And yeah, man, I appreciate you having me on. I love your show. As I told you on my show, you're one of my favorites. I love listening to your stuff. I love how you're a younger dude doing this like me, and you're doing it alone. I think, like I said before, I think we're the only two young dudes doing it alone, solo dolo. Which I got to show respect to, and I thoroughly, really do enjoy the Whiskey News podcast. And I congratulated you on your barrel pick before, but I want to say it again live. That's fantastic. That is sold out.
Thank you.
And I wish you nothing but continued success, man. This is fun, and we got to keep doing this thing where, like, in a few months you'll come back on my show, then I'll come back on here, and like maybe we just make it like a few times a year. We kind of just goof around and do these little tastings because I had fun.
Agreed, man. And hey, I don't have to be the first to tell you that. I won't be the first to tell you that you're absolutely killing it as well. I love what you guys are doing. You've got just a lot of exciting stuff going on, some of which, like you said, you can't even mention yet, but you're killing it. You guys have awesome content, and I totally agree. We got to do this more often. You're so easy to talk to, and now I know, for the first time, I didn't know this before, but now I know you got some pretty killer recommendations as well. So we'll have to do this more often, but I'll put all your stuff in the show notes for everybody who's just listening. Go down in the show notes. Make sure you follow Connor. Make sure you follow both, like his personal account and his podcast account. Check out both the podcasts and leave ratings and reviews, because those are the most important. Good ratings and reviews for those of you listening. But Connor, thank you for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for having me.
Thank you guys for listening to another episode of Whiskey Noobs. If you need more Whiskey Noobs content in your life, make sure you check out our Patreon page in the show notes. And if you like the show, please make sure to leave a 5-star rating or review. It only takes a couple of minutes, and they're way more helpful than people realize. If you want to do tastings alongside the show, make sure you join the email list by sending an email to whiskeynoobspodcast@gmail.com with a subject line that says email list. You'll receive monthly emails with a list of the whiskeys that will be featured throughout the month so that you can buy them ahead of time. You can also find more Whiskey Noobs content on Instagram at whiskey_noobs and on TikTok at Whiskey Noobs Podcast. Once again, thank you guys for listening. The Whiskey Noobs Podcast does not support underage or otherwise irresponsible consumption of alcohol.